In this film, guys, we shall be taking a look at the 1963 animated Disney classic movie, The Sword in the Stone. So without further ado, let's get into today's review. Let's get into it. So I thought then that this movie was very bizarre. For a movie called The Sword in the Stone, for 10 minutes of the movie is it about the sword in the stone. For the rest of it, it's more about Arthur being prepared up to become king. Eventually, obviously, that's how he becomes king, by lifting the sword out of the stone. And it's more like Merlin showing him how to be a king and learning the roles of being a king whilst not knowing he's being taught how to be a king. It's very, very bizarre, very, very weird. And I think this movie should have been called something like Merlin or Merlin and Arthur, or even Arthur. I think that would have made a lot more sense, but for a movie called The Sword in the Stone, and that element only being focused on for about 10 minutes of the entire film, that is weird. And I don't think they should have called it The Sword in the Stone in hindsight, looking back. I think that they try this weird vibe with the movie, which is like a Wile E. Coyote, Tom and Jerry style of movie, that's not really that funny. It doesn't quite get the humour quite right. As an actual overall cartoon, you can't go wrong with it. I think you're going to be entertained. I think you're going to enjoy it if you're into them sorts of old classic animated cartoons. Although I do think that, for me, looking at a storytelling side of things, it doesn't tell a great story. It's very predictable. You know what's going to happen. You know what's going to happen at the end of the movie. When he eventually does it, that moment should have felt so much better. However, having them just show the sword in the stone in the last 10 minutes, it just came out of nowhere for a film that's called that, and yeah, it didn't really work in my opinion. I think the idea of training him up to be a king, that really worked. I enjoyed that side of things. But if I'm looking as an overall storytelling Disney classic movie, it is not nowhere near the best. Like, if we just look at some of the 90s Disney movies, for instance, Aladdin, Lion King, Tarzan, just three there that are Disney classics, and we can all agree are great movies. What makes them great? Great storytelling. This doesn't have that. I think it lacks that. I think this, just like I said, focused on more being an animated cartoon rather than being a storyteller. In a way, you might think a kid lifting the sword out of stone is such a powerful moment in any movie. This skinny kid and all these big muscly guys have tried to lift that sword out the stone. They've tried, they've failed. Every single one of these powerful knights, all these what you would call knight in shining armors, are unable to lift this sword out of the stone. This skinny young kid manages to do it. I suppose that side of things, you could say, look, anybody who's worthy enough can become king. I'm guessing that's the sort of thing that they're trying to come across with here with Disney, but I don't think they do it in the correct manner. I think the tests of putting him through being a squirrel and being a fish was very, again, bizarre, very weird, and I didn't quite get why they did that, but because I don't know what lessons he learnt to become king, but I'm guessing that's what it was doing. It was preparing to become king in different scenarios to work out what to do and things, but yeah, I weren't a big fan of that myself, but I suppose that's like the animation, classic animation side of things that people back in the day might have loved, but for me now, who's looking for a different type of animated movie, I don't quite enjoy this as much. Finally, and I thought that the actors and actresses did a good job in this particular movie, as we saw the likes of Sorenson, Sebastian Cabot, Karl Swenson and Junius Matthews, in which all did an exceptional job in this particular animated movie. To summarise Sword in the Stone then, I felt that the title didn't really match up with the actual film. Because of that last 10 minutes, that is the only thing that's Sword in the Stone actually about it, as it weren't mentioned through the entire movie. And other than that, I felt the movie was alright, hence why I've rated this movie a decent film and a 6.5 out of 10. So let me know down in the comments down below what your thoughts are. Is it good? Is it bad? Is it terrible? Is it amazing? Let me know down in the comments down below, please. Also, we have noticed not enough people have been smashing that subscribe button, so please do that now. Hit that like button, hit that notification bell, and I shall see you guys in the next one. Laters.